Okay, now continuing on with some application. It says model for an exponential growth or decay problem. So this is basically a formula that we're going to be dealing with. So we have A of t is equal to A times 1 plus R to the t power. Now, your A of t, all of this is the amount after t time. So like if we're looking at something 6 years from now, so how much of something do I have 6 years from now, okay? So that's what that means. Now your little a, your lowercase a, is your initial amount, like how much of something am I starting with, okay? R is going to stand for rate. And if R is bigger than 0, which just simply means that it needs to be positive. It's simply all that means. But it's going to be a decay. You're going to be dealing with something that's negative, okay? So there's going to be times that this is actually going to change to subtraction if R needs to be negative. So anytime that something is decaying or decreasing, then we'll be dealing with a negative value here. And of course, T just stands for your time. So number of time periods. So like if I say 5 years, that just simply means that your period is in years, or it could be that it's in days. You know, that kind of thing will just vary from problem to problem, okay? So we're going to look at a couple of word problems, and of course, this is what we're going to end up using for each one of those. All right, so here's the first one. But first of all, your instructions. It says to write an exponential function to model each situation and then to find the amount after the specified time, okay? Now, of course, what you'll end up needing to do is just pause the video to write down this example, and then once you get it written down, you can start it back up. Okay, so you're going to deposit $3,500 in a savings account that pays interest at an annual rate of 2.5%. If no money is added or withdrawn, then how much money will there be after 5 years? And then how many years will it take for the account to contain $4,000? All right, so first of all, like if you put the money in the bank and you don't do anything with it for 5 years, how much are you going to have after 5 years, okay? So going back to your formula, I mean, that's what we're finding is just this right here. So we're going to plug our information into our formula, and that will give us this, which is going to be our answer, okay? Now, remember, little a is your initial amount, R is going to be your rate, and T is going to be your time. Okay, so writing your model, I have A of T equals. Now, little a is your initial amount. So how much did we start with? That's the $3,500. And then we multiply that times 1 plus R. Now, R is going to be your rate. You do have to change this to decimal form. So that would be 0.025. But if you're earning interest, that's an increase, okay? So that means that this is going to stay positive. And then raise this to the t power. Now, I know I've got the 5, which is the time, but back to the instructions. When it says to write the model for the situation, what you're going to do is hold off on plugging in that t, okay? So when you go to do your homework and it's asking for the model, do not plug in the t for the model, okay? Now, to answer the question, it was, okay, now how much money do I have after 5 years? So now you do A of 5. Now you can just simply go ahead and add this together. Of course, it being 1 plus makes that real easy to add. And now you're going to raise this to the 5th power. Okay, so put this in your calculator. And you should get, of course, this is dealing with money, so I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places, $3,959.93. Okay, so that actually answers this first question that you were asked. Now, how many years will it take for the account to contain $400? Okay. All right, so this is answering the second part of this is actually just straight off the calculator. So what I want you to do to answer, I tell you what, I'm going to call this A part. And now B part. Okay. What you're going to do is enter model into the y equals, like into your calculator, into your y equals. Now remember, the model is this right here. So in your calculator, go to your y equals, and we'll have the 3,500. Well, actually, I'm going to enter it in right here where I've already added it together. Of course, it doesn't matter. You can enter it in as 1 plus. It's 1.025 raised to. Now, the model, of course, has the t, okay? Your calculator, what you're going to use for your variable is going to be just x. I mean, you know, when you put it in the calculator, it really doesn't matter what variable you use. It's just convenient to go ahead and use x. Okay, now go to, once you enter this into your y equals, I want you to go to your table. Okay. Now, you're asked about how many years will it take for you to have $4,000. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. You notice